and today we're going to be doing a video on where we basically map out a situation where the US, the United States of America, decide to try to expand their land, conquer the world or something. Now, it's not necessarily the world, it may just be more land. I don't know. Let's get right into it. So first, the U.S. Decide to attack Mexico. First of all, because their military is not one of the best in the world, and they're close to them. But it's also because that Mexico is not a NATO member. That's why they didn't invade Canada, because NATO still exists. And even though U.S. is being withdrawn, they don't want the Europe and maybe like giving China and Russia a good reason to attack them. So they started by invading Mexico. So yeah, that's why they decided to invade them. So we have the buildup of the USA forces over here near Texas, because that is like their kind of the main state after Washington, New York, and such. And yeah, they. Okay, no, that is not supposed to be happening. What? Give me a second to fix it. Alright, I fixed it. So, basically, the US builds up its territory over here in Texas, and they start invading. Straight up. And the Mexican government, by far, was not ready for this. They had a few military over here. Most of their military was over here, maybe a little bit, but not really. And so yeah, they start invading Mexico. And basically they just cut off this area from the mainland, and they just steamroll over this area. They don't even put up a good fight. There's some naval landings, although they don't really need them. The US just shows off its power, like always. They make a few naval landings over there, and they start they make the biggest landing over here, because first of all it's the closest, second of all it's the closest to mainland as well, and they connect. And the Mexican capital is about here, I think. And so after a few conflicts and basically taking over half of the coastline, Mexicans have, yeah, Mexico starts to fall apart as their capital is taken over easily. They do push back a little in this area, because they did have a little bit of troops ready and set up here, and they were not getting much support. But otherwise, they don't really get to push the US's back much as they would have liked. So this is basically the situation in Mexico, and the world is like, how the flip is US doing this? Like, US usually doesn't do this, so everyone's scared that they're gonna be next, especially Canada. Although I think they're just gonna be like, oopsies, we forgot to prepare our military or something. Anyways, the countries down in South America kind of form an organization, even though they already have NATO. Since the US is gone, they don't completely trust NATO, so they start forming. Tell me down in the comments what I should have named it, but I'm just gonna color them this for now, because like, why not? And then Argentina decides to join in, and basically a little bit of these countries, I forgot the name. Well, Argentina and Brazil are the main countries that join. This country, Mungi country, is also joining. I forgot its name. I thought it was that, but it's not. Yeah. So this is basically the situation down in the South Americas. But back to the North America. And yeah, this is the situation back up in North America. Mexico is basically cut in half. These area capitulate and surrender, whatever you want to call it, it's fine. No thanks. And this area is still going strong for some reason. But the US basically just take over it, and yeah, Mexico is not second. So what this means is this organization has grown, and the US is not happy about it. They're not at all happy about it. Not all of them are actual countries, but who cares? As we can see, the US threatens to declare war on this continent if they do not get out of their border. Okay, no, they don't take over that much land, I'm sorry. But I am seeing some karma. Anyways, so basically the organization doesn't listen, but instead of listening, what they do is add way more members because the US threatened them. They basically use it as a policy to say, well, look at us, they're threatening us now, so join us. So basically almost all of South America is in the war, kind of the war. It's basically a Cold War for now, but yeah, hopefully things don't escalate. Oh, looks like the US is attacking. So yeah, US basically starts saying, hey, you didn't listen, so we're gonna attack. And well, basically everybody freaks out because they didn't actually think it was gonna happen. And basically the military advance stops a little bit over here because this is kind of a dangerous area to traverse. But the not the YouTube name. I think this is the Hawaiian Island? I'm not sure. Wait, let me check real quick. Yeah, I just forgot they were part of this country. I'm very sorry. Yeah. So basically, the US Navy says, no, you're not in control of them, and takes those and starts attacking some naval battles. We're not gonna go over the full length of it, but this is basically the situation happening over in the South America. The borders over here are also getting attacked since Brazil is like the main country over here. Argentina is also one of the main countries, which is why they've been attacked all the way over here in the north. So yeah, the US is making naval landings all over South America. This area is pretty not attacked, but yeah, that's about to change. This is the biggest naval attack US has done in a lot of years. Basically, they just covered the southern coastline, so no trade can go through here. So basically, this country's this portion is gone, and yeah, the U.S. military has now made its way across this area and is now invading South America. And yeah, it is not looking good for South America over here. And these countries, well, they decide to join since, you know, the attacking and all, they don't want to be the one left out after. But we do see the US getting pushed back all the way over here. And because it's mainly because Brazil is sending support since Argentina is locked in their own conflict. So we see them pushing the US a little bit back, but not significantly. This area is cornered and then captured, and we have the Argentina army taking out the naval landing over here. because the US couldn't support so many landings. They just like collapsed, and basically this area got cut in half. Um, and yeah, so it wasn't really looking good for the US anymore. This was looking like a big mistake. And Cuba was making some landings over here in Florida. Yeah, we're just gonna color it like that because it looks good. And Cuba takes over them. Great thing. Basically Cuba is like doing a takeover over Florida with their measly army, but that gets easily pushed back soon. They do get this area taken back, and we do see the splitting half of the Cuban mainland. But anyways, back over here, this landing is also gone, and we do see some skirmishes, but they're not really concentrating over some small islands, unlike some people. And over here, the U.S. military fully gets pushed back, and yeah, this is basically not looking great for the U.S. They're still holding up pretty solid over here, although they do get a little bit pushed back. They're not fully pushed back. Now, the U.S. military did not really arrive in heaps yet, but now they are. And yeah, it did not look good for here. The US military basically starts taking over the land. They're stopped over here because the Brazilian government is focusing over here, and they're the biggest strong player right now, except for Argentina, who's focusing back down. And they basically re-established their naval holdings over here, and they do take back these lands. That was unnecessary. There we go. And they have this thing where they try to connect, but they fail, as the army focuses mainly on letting the US not come over here, because, well, if they do, yeah, it's over. Yeah, so basically it's a locked stalemate, and realistically I think they would agree on a peace agreement here, but just to spice things up, I'm gonna keep continuing. But realistically, I could end the video here, but man, it doesn't feel right. But after a while, the US does make break the stalemate, as they take over this country. But the country right here is trying to cut the US off, but it's not gonna work. The US also passed second grade and knows their tactics, and yeah. But we do see some airstrikes all the way in Brazil, and basically the naval landing here grows. So the US is focusing on their naval landing over here. Their navy is getting pretty weak, as they've already made some unsuccessful landings. But yeah. Why is it not letting me? Okay. So basically, US's plan is to cut South America in a quarter, half, little thingy. But that is not possible, since the South American organization army that I've not named yet pushes them back, and yeah. But here's the plot twist. Yes, the US makes Canada join the war. They put a lot of political pressure for them to join, and they basically said, if you don't join, we're also gonna attack you. And yeah, that won't really look good for Canada, so Canada decided to join in. Now, they don't have a powerful military or anything. I'm not sure if they even have a navy, but they do have somewhat of an army, and any support is appreciated. but their support doesn't reach for now, and the USR pushed back as they were putting all their things into the naval conflicts over here. But basically, they do manage to take over Cuba, which is not at all that surprising since, yeah. But the US does seem to be losing on the economical front, as South America is not doing great, but economical wise, US is not doing such a great job of invading South America, and it soon looks like their military is gonna collapse. But oh my god, look, the Canadians are here. And basically, it turns out the US was just saving their military for this. So, surprise attack. The US basically surprise attack everyone, and yeah, it doesn't look good for South America now because boom, 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 boom. The US cuts South America into quarter, and being cut off from Brazil is very, very bad. Yeah. US manages to take over all these small countries, and yeah, it's game over. Now countries begin to leave this organization called whatever it's called. So the first one to leave is I'm gonna color them in a specific color so we know that. Wait a second. As I was saying, the first country to leave is this. The country that follow up are these countries. This country also not no. Oh my god, what is wrong with this? So these are the three countries that decide to leave, and yeah, it doesn't really look good for South America now. I know, plot twists. Am I right? Anyways, the focus shifts over here as the US knows this area is not very defended. So basically they just leave a little bit of the US military and the Canadian military to hold their position and not screw up. Yeah. While they go make a naval landing all the way over here. No, don't do that. And by naval landing, I mean a full-blown invasion. They kind of just take this country as it is not very powerful, but I'm not like fully researched on this, so forgive me if I'm wrong. Argentina do manage to push the US back by like an inch or two. Yeah, I meant when I said an inch or two. It doesn't really look good because they're in a stalemate, and yeah, this is the position. Oh, it is so satisfying to do this. Okay, I shouldn't be that distracted. Give me a second while I enjoy this. I enjoyed it with the 1 pixel now. So yeah. The Argentina and this country, basically start taking over the coastlines like we see here and here, because they know if they cut off the coastlines, US won't really have a way of sending in support as they're not connected to their mainland. Now Argentina's advance is pretty much stopped when they reach here, but they very smartly decide that if they need to win, they need more help than they have. Like, these two countries are not going to be able to defeat the full force of USA. So how do they get help? Well, they convince the UK that they're going to be next, like Canada was. And yeah, USA just throws any money they have funding the war on the other alliance side that have not named yet. Kind of like the Napoleonic Wars where they sided with the other teams and kind of backstabbed Napoleon. US is very angry with this, but since British did not actually declare war on them, they can't do anything about it. They also provide a lot of military support, and yeah, Argentina basically manages to take over its land, kind of. Why are the? Okay, I'm not even gonna ask. So yeah, this happens. Yeah, I'm really fast forwarding here because I don't have enough time. This video is gonna be really long if I continue to mark every detail of this. And the war in over here continues. And do you know what? Do you know what? The one job they had was to not screw up. And they screwed up big time. So basically they were trying to defeat here, and yeah, they messed up big time. So yeah, the US is not very happy about that. It just lost a lot of naval fronts and a big battle over here in Argentina, and now they're getting pushed back over here. The US military is tired of fighting the war, and I guess they shouldn't have declared war over them just yet after they won the Mexican War. Also, they captured their islands back. I know, so important, right? And we basically have the the smaller countries over here gain their power back, and US just tells the forces to retreat all the way over to this area. So basically just tells all its military to withdraw up to this area, and then they regroup. And it's basically a stalemate for like half a year or something. And when USA has regrouped enough, they go on a bloody massacre suddenly because they thought the war was over, but it was far from over. The US is now fully hyped up and ready to go, and they have a better plan than just go over and attack. They take up all the coastlines this time, and they don't leave any exceptions. They also focus on the weak countries first, so they can focus on the stronger ones later, which is a strategy no one really understands, but hey, it works, so why not take it? Since the coastline's blocked, naval trading is basically blocked, which means UK has some trouble funding since they can't really send in any support. What is it gonna do? Send it through PayPal? And US just continues expanding its coastlines, and basically we have the mainland connecting to all the coastlines there are except for this one which is just made. And look, Argentina missed some spots. Oh, that's great. Let's take over it again. So it's basically very bad for this area because they're not really ready to go again yet, because all of it was destroyed and they did not prepare well for this. Because as I said, there were peace treaties going on and they thought the war was kind of over. And look at that, will you? These islands are captured in the red team for the millionth time. That's great. Basically, we have this country leaving. Well, it wasn't exactly a withdrawal, or like from the organization, as they were like, U.S. can take over us in one condition, that after this war, we will get a small chunk of area to us again. So basically, they gave all their land to the USA in exchange for enough land later after the US has won this war. So basically they thought there was no hope left. Well, that's great for the US, I guess. Oopsies. Give me one sec. So this is basically a few months after this country surrendered, and Argentina is, yeah, it's not doing well. It's not really as good as it was before. Brazil is still stronger, and that is why US is trying to separate Brazil from any of its allies and their allies from Brazil. So Argentina is going to be pretty easy to take over, as US just needs to do that, which they do. And basically Argentina just surrenders to the US, as they no longer see any point in fighting. So basically Brazil and its allies are left alone, which isn't really good for them. Now realistically, I think that the US military would be exhausted and they would be pushed back. Yeah, this is gonna be a little bit confusing. But hey, I'm trying to make this video a little bit more realistic, but then again, this is not realistic at all. Like, at all. But anyways, I'm gonna continue with my video. Everybody's very angry and nobody wants the war to continue anymore. Yeah, big surprise there. Even the US. Yeah, big surprise there. So basically they signed peace treaties, and yeah, I'm gonna show what the peace treaties look like in a second. But if you like these kind of videos, consider subscribing, and throughout the video you might have seen I buttons. Those basically are my other videos, and yeah, subscribe, like, and check out my other channel, Modern Barn. It's in the description, and it's also in the end of the video. Anyways, let's continue with the peace treaty, as both of the sides are pretty decimated. They no longer see a fight. UK is pretty sad since they wanted South America to win, but that's not exactly what that happened. So yeah, let's take a look at the peace treaty. And so this is the final map. The Canada doesn't really get any land because it didn't really do anything, except Canada gets these. So hooray for them. They got a little bit of land. I'm not gonna cover those islands, it's a pain in the back. Brazil basically stayed the same, and they for some reason gained a country's land. Yeah, but that doesn't matter right now. This country, as decided, is still kind of remaining, but mostly in US control. US found a loophole, because in the peace treaty it said that after this war we're gonna give you most of the portion and then keep a little for ourselves. It didn't say anything about the US winning or not. So yeah, it basically got chipped off its land. Argentina lost a little bit of land, and then these countries, and Mexico, and these countries. Cuba got a little bit of land because, like, why not? They were rebelling a lot. So yeah, the only person I see who kind of won here is Brazil. Yeah, except for the obvious ones, Canada and US. Nothing really happened to Great Britain except their economy is in absolutely decimated, if it's not already in real life. So yeah, this is they decided to give Brazil just randomly a country. Don't ask me why. I definitely did not create the borders, and I'm definitely not sleepy because it's 2 p.m. in the night. yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe, and yeah, the versus mapper Morton Barn, and hope you guys click on one of my videos.